Welcome to Celestial Insights, a weekly podcast that brings the stars down to earth. I'm your host, astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks. My purpose is to provide practical, unique, and insightful guidance to help you navigate the energies of the week like a boss. Hello, this is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and on this episode, I will discuss the astrology for the week of May 24th, 2026. I'm having a free webinar next Sunday, May 31st, about Jupiter's entrance into Leo. You can sign up at the link in the show notes or go to my website, astrologybyceleste.com. The benefit of coming live is that you can ask questions and have a chance for a hot take chart reading. The theme of this week is the Handmaid's Tale, and there are three big things I want you to think about as you navigate this week. The first is that we have a major long-term configuration that's coming more into focus, and I call it the Cosmic Wedge. There are many other names like a Mini Grand Trine, a Talent Trine, and more. This occurs when two planets are in trine. They're in the same element and they both sextile a third planet. Right now we have Uranus in Gemini trine Pluto in Aquarius. These are both air signs associated with information, technology, collective movements. They're humane. They're about people and communication. Both are sextiling Neptune in Aries, a fire sign. That is yang energy, just like the air signs. And so this brings passion, belief, ideology, and willingness to fight for survival, an Aries word. These are the outer planets. So this is not temporary energy. They are going to stay in this configuration and it will tighten to where all of them are at 4 degrees of their respective signs, and they will remain in close orb for the rest of the decade, moving together in a formation. The sun entered Gemini last week, and for the first time, it met Uranus in Gemini. Now it's separating and translating the light, the information that it received about what is going to be changing, sudden breaks. It awakened us to something. And it's moving towards a sextile to Neptune to pick up some more information, to shed light on something that was foggy, deceptive, hard to see. And then it's going to trine Pluto, spotlighting the underworld, themes of power and control. So the sun focuses us in on things. It will bring these themes about what is coming up over the rest of the decade, what is being set in motion or has already been set in motion into our visibility. Yesterday, we had a first quarter moon in Virgo with the sun in Gemini, the moon in Virgo, both at 2 degrees for very close to the beginning of the sign. Virgo is a sign connected to health, systems, the rank and file of the military, civil servants, and more, farming, labor, and diagnostics. Virgo is perfectionistic and detailed, so there can be purity tests with this energy, really specifically wanting to slice and dice something. First quarter moons are times of action, so some actions may be already taken or announced that makes the society aware of new things that are coming in. The sun is the leader and the moon is the people. Now, with the Cosmic Wedge being activated, this configuration speaks to collective uprisings and growing anger about these systems the elites are trying to put into place about surveillance, the AI expansion with these data centers that are going to suck up every resource in people's cities, towns, and states. The people of Bolivia are marching to the capital to take on their leader as I'm recording this on May 19th. Uranus is a disruptor, and in Gemini, it's disrupting communication systems, transportation, media, and literally the nervous system itself. While Pluto in Aquarius is intensifying struggles around power, technology, and the future direction of society. Neptune in Aries adds the emotional fire and conviction, making people willing to battle for what they believe in. And whether this shows up through activism, nationalism, spiritual movements, or resistance to the environmental destruction and overreach, people are becoming increasingly activated, motivated, and concerned. Lots of astrologers are focused on the war symbolism of this energy, but I'm watching for the health implications closely because this is highly activated air and fire energy. Things travel quickly through the air, including viruses, misinformation, smoke, panic, and nervous system stress. Last week's podcast was called Around the World in 80 Days, and I was thinking about the cruise ship virus, and then we found out there's another Ebola outbreak. Now, am I worried about Ebola? No, not personally, but it's a devastating disease that's going to be wreaking havoc for the people in the Congo. Trines are considered fortunate because they allow things to flow quickly. But they remove all restrictions, and that can mean quick escalation, acceleration, and systems moving faster than people can process. Sextiles offer opportunity, but humanity has to consciously choose how to engage with this energy. People may feel hyper alert, overstimulated, restless, emotionally charged, and aware that bigger things are shifting beneath the surface. I am stepping back away from keeping up on the news as closely as I have been. It's just too much. It's chaotic. And there's a real need to focus in on a few things that really matter and watching how things unfold for me without drowning in all of the chaos. And this first quarter moon that happened yesterday can be energy that you use to be more discerning of Virgo word. Be mindful of what you take in. Be aware that there's so much misinformation. Your intuition is a first check, and then you can also check sources, but putting some blinders on can be a good thing to do around this time. If you've been feeling emotionally overwhelmed by the intensity of the world, one of the best things you can do is reconnect with your inner light. My class, The Proper Care and Feeding of Your Natal Moon, will help you understand your emotional needs, instincts, and patterns through your moon sign, the house it's in, and aspects it's making. When you enroll, you'll also join me for 2 live Q&A sessions where you can ask questions, get chart hot takes, and more. So whether you're brand new to astrology or have been studying charts for years, this course will help you build a more grounded and compassionate relationship with yourself. Learn more and enroll at astrologybyceleste.com or check out the link in the show notes. The next thing I want to make you aware of is that we have a Gibbous Moon at 21 Libra on May 27th. This is the phase right before the full moon. Each of the 8 phases lasts 3.5 days. The Gibbous Moon is when the moon is pregnant with possibilities. Awareness is building. We're getting information and something is preparing to culminate. With the sun in Libra and the moon in Gemini, both air signs, there is tremendous mental and social activity in the collective right now. Air signs bring things into consciousness through conversations, media, ideas, information, negotiations, and social interactions. Libra is a sign of relationships, diplomacy, partnerships, fairness, and cooperation. It rules our one-on-one dynamics, including marriages, alliances, best friend types, business partners, contracts is a Libra topic, and the way we attempt to create harmony with others. This moon can bring attention to diplomatic relationships between nations, social justice themes, legal matters, public agreements, and conflicts where balance and fairness are being debated, like what's happening as states in the South try to gerrymander districts to dilute the Black vote is a big story collectively. With the moon separating from a trine to Mercury in Gemini, information is moving really quickly. And the moon is applying to square Jupiter in Cancer. Squares are tense. Jupiter makes everything bigger. Cancer is a water sign. So emotional reactions are amplified. We can see themes of patriotism, protectionism, family-centered concerns. Cancer can be very nationalistic, very concerned with who people could think about as their tribe and trying to keep out anyone else. People can get very reactive about issues involving homeland, citizenship, and people who feel protected and supported within society. On a personal level, the Gibbous Moon can bring relationship matters sharper into focus because it's in the sign of Libra. You may become more aware of how communication is flowing in your relationship. Is it flowing easily? Are there imbalances? Libra wants reciprocity and fairness, win-win situations, and mutual respect. Gemini desires dialogue, curiosity, and exchange. Important conversations may be arising, and some people may be able to articulate in a way that's more clear and precise their emotional needs with the energy of this Gibbous Moon. So it's a great time to sit down and have a family conversation or a conversation with your partner and really talk calmly about everybody's needs. And maybe on situations that are tense, you can come to compromises so everyone feels like they've gotten something in the negotiation. The Sabian symbol for 21 Libra is a child giving birds a drink at a fountain. There's something deeply tender and innocent about this image. It speaks to preserving gentleness in a chaotic world, but the shadow side can involve interfering with natural systems or unintentionally contributing to imbalance. The people on that cruise ship who started this latest health crisis were bird watching in a landfill in Argentina, which seems insane. Why would you go to a landfill to do anything at all? With so much air symbolism activated, it also reflects how quickly things circulate through shared spaces like a cruise ship. And it can be ideas, emotions, rumors, illness, or just collective anxieties. Something's coming into focus collectively, and people are trying to restore balance. So the overall feeling of the Gibbous Moon is growing awareness. What is coming into focus for you? Where are you trying to restore balance? How are you navigating rapidly changing conditions? The last thing I want to make you aware of is that Ceres, the dwarf planet and goddess of the grain, harvest, nourishment, and maternal care enters Gemini on May 28th through August 12th. In mythology, Ceres was Persephone's mother. Persephone was taken to the underworld to be Hades' bride, and Ceres was so devastated with grief that she allowed all the crops to die and the earth to become barren. This myth is deeply connected to cycles of food, fertility, loss, survival, and what happens when nurturing systems break down. Ceres will move through the final anaretic 29th degree of Taurus, a sign associated with food, agriculture, land, resources, and money. The 29th degree is one of crisis and decay, and then drop into 0 degrees of Gemini, the sign of communication, reporting, trade routes, transportation, media, and information exchange. So food-related issues should move more into public conversation and collective awareness. Notice when you see major news stories about food availability, supply chain, contamination concerns. On Instagram, something was going around about Driscoll strawberries and how they are loaded with pesticides. It was very shocking to see. Are you noticing any bare shelves? First, Ceres will meet Uranus, bringing disruption, shocking news, technological changes around food systems, agriculture, and more. Then Ceres sextiles Neptune in Aries and trines Pluto in Aquarius. Their themes of survival, ideology, and technical information around nourishment and resources. Expect major reporting on food shortages and supply instability between now and August. And it's notable that Ceres leaves on August 12th, the day of the next solar eclipse, moves from Gemini into the sign of Cancer. Debates about food safety, how AI is reshaping agriculture, concerns about water and soil and resource depletion, and a rapid spread of information around these topics. On a personal level with Ceres and Gemini, can you become more conscious of the information you consume as well as the food you consume? Gemini rules the nervous system. So many people may be noticing that they are responding more quickly to what's coming into them through media that causes stress, anxiety, maybe even digestion and health issues. You can rethink some of your daily habits and routines, like how much information you intake and what you actually share, especially about health and wellness. Great time to reconnect with local support systems. There's a strong theme about conversations surrounding care. How can we nourish each other? Great time for idea generation about how to make change. The Handmaid's Tale is a novel by Margaret Atwood. It's dystopian and set in the United States after society collapses into an authoritarian regime where women lose their rights, freedoms, financial independence, and bodily autonomy. Fertility rates are down, and women are assigned rigid roles based on their ability to reproduce and their usefulness to the state. The society operates through surveillance, fear, religious extremism, propaganda, and strict control over information and communication. This novel fits the astrology to a T because it highlights themes of purity, control, obedience, health, reproduction, labor, the regulation of bodies. These are all shadow expressions connected to Virgo energy. At the same time, the story involves around information control, coded language, propaganda, surveillance, forbidden reading and writing, and the manipulation of narratives, which strongly reflects the Gemini symbolism being activated right now at yesterday's first quarter moon. And the sun highlighted the Cosmic Wedge. The atmosphere of the novel mirrors the collective feeling that many are sensing under the sky. Growing anxiety around personal freedoms, control through systems, ideological division, survival fears, and the realizations that society can gradually normalize restrictions when people become overwhelmed and fearful and desperate for stability. One of my greatest joys is helping people understand themselves more fully. If you're wanting to make sense of your past, recognize the patterns that have shaped you, or get clearer about the path ahead, astrology can offer real insight. In our sessions, we'll use your natal chart as a map. You don't need to know any astrology at all. You can book a single session for clarity or choose a cosmic coaching package if you'd like ongoing support as you grow and plan for the future. Book your sessions at astrologybyceleste.com on the services page. On Sunday, the word of the day is hyper. Nervous systems may be really ramped up with the first quarter moon in Virgo, because on this day, the Virgo Moon will square Mercury and Gemini at 14 degrees. Do a body scan. Are you calm? How are you feeling? Are you scattered? Notice where you're seeing and recognizing hyperreactivity, hypersensitivity, and what can you do to calm it down? The Virgo Moon on this day makes a hammer of Thor, first doing that semi-square with Mars and then Pluto, who are in square with each other. The hammer of Thor knocks the tops off of mountains. And Mars square Pluto is really intense energy of conflict, determination, and something is going to come to our conscious attention. The Gemini Sun is in a sextile with Neptune and Aries. It's 4 degrees of each sign. Sun sextile Neptune can take you on a dream. Maybe if you notice you have some kind of anxiety going on within your body, this is a great time to just stop, get quiet, meditate. Can you simplify your life in some way? Hydrate, rest the nervous system, reduce the inputs, and return to basics. There are all these apps that can help you limit your time on social media or doom scrolling so that you can get back to center. Mars in Taurus is sextile the North Node. So you may decide to take some action that can help you get embodied and do it with a group. The North Node has associations with groups. So maybe sign up for something that will get you into, whether it's online or in person, some kind of practice. You can take my Proper Care and Feeding of the Moon class in order to help you get more in touch with your inner world and have some tools to understand your subconscious so you can act with more intention. On Monday, the word of the day is rupture. The Libra Moon begins at 7:33 a.m. Pacific time. Notice if you feel more balanced today, the Gemini Sun is square the lunar nodes. The North Node in Pisces, the South Node in Virgo, both at 4 degrees. This is like a leader. The Sun spotlights things. It rules the authority. Communicating something around topics. Use your discernment. Are they just giving you a snow job? Solar flares are really in the energy, and this can be when the sun starts throwing things out that has the potential to cause interruptions in communications. So there may be something literally where we're having some themes of solar flares interrupting communications, but it also could be around these leaders at crossroads and deciding to go into something that brings Piscean chaos and a lack of Virgo systems, accountabilities, and order. The moon in Libra is opposite Neptune and Aries, both at 3 degrees. So this can bring themes of confusion and overwhelm coming from outside of yourself. This is the day Mars in Taurus squares Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, both at 5 degrees. This is some of the most intense energy possible. Pluto is a higher octave of Mars, the planet of war. Mars is in the sign of its detriment. There have been actions and things happening over the last several days that are exemplifying this energy. When Mars went into Taurus, some right-wing gunmen went to a mosque school and committed a terror attack. So there's a lot of chaotic energy. People may be violent or speak in a way that feels almost violent. You may notice your desires to just wring someone's neck with this energy. So it's a great time to be aware of things, but something may rupture, literally, the earth. There's like volcanic energy. This is the energy of a volcano erupting. So give people who are really angry a wide berth. The Gemini Sun squares the nodes. So this feels like you're at a fated crossroads. And the decision you make could be the difference between having harmony and getting into a knockdown, drag out fight. This is not a time to have the last word because the reaction may be explosive. Something hidden surfaces very suddenly. On Tuesday, the word of the day is knowing. The Libra Moon squares Venus and Cancer, both at 8 degrees. The moon square Venus can be a little uncomfortable where you feel like there's this desire for connection, but emotionally it can feel hard to get to. And then the Libra Moon opposes Saturn at 11 degrees of Aries. So you may really notice it may bring you into your conscious attention pressure, Saturn on resources, Venus, feeling unloved, feeling separated from love, feeling a desire for connection. And closed mouths don't get fed. And with the Libra Moon, if you need a hug, ask for one. Can you put your pride aside? Especially if there's been some kind of argument recently, some themes that things that had been submerged in relationships are going to come to the surface as the Gemini Sun trines Pluto in Aquarius, both at 5 degrees. And when Pluto is activated, subconscious themes that we'd rather not admit come rising to the surface. There can be sudden insights, revelations, pattern recognition with this energy. Pluto exposes what is hidden. Aquarius rules collective systems, technologies, and network. The sun translating the light to Pluto illuminates truths. On Wednesday, the word of the day is pregnant. The Gibbous Moon is at 21 degrees of Libra at 12:13 a.m. Pacific time. And then the moon squares Jupiter at 23 degrees of Cancer and opposes Chiron at 28 degrees of Aries. It will be interesting if there are announcements, legal judgments, anything around birthright citizenship, being able to ship medications like Plan B in the mail. Is there any program being announced that's intended to help families or people who want to start a family do it in some way that's more affordable? And the moon is visibly swollen with light and building towards culmination. Go out and take a look and connect with the energy. There's anticipation, growth, tension and expectancy. What is forming and ripening within you? You may have some idea. It may be artistic or about writing that you just want to get out there. The Scorpio Moon begins at 5:52 p.m. Pacific time. This is deep waters. So if you get the idea with the Scorpio Moon, you can integrate it internally. On Thursday, the word of the day is descend. The Scorpio Moon opposes Pluto retrograde and then squares Mars at 5 degrees. This can help you process what you've been feeling beneath the surface. It's tense, but this phase invites us to dive deeper into confronting uncomfortable truths. Scorpio is co-ruled by Mars and Pluto, so this activation, you may recognize the emotional undercurrents that shape your behavior, your relationships, and how events come to fruition based on the communication styles, the actions of both parties involved. Relationships are a mirror. Don't look away. You may get something that you need to see as you descend into the cave. The asteroid Ceres will enter Gemini this day. It's the sign of the twins. Someone may announce they're having them or find out they're having them or just be talking about them. A mother talking or father talking about their twins. And on this day, Venus in Cancer squares Saturn in Aries at 11 degrees of each sign. People may be feeling the pressure to put their personal desires aside in order to bring children into a family. This could be like your parents badgering you or your grandparents badgering you, or when are you having kids? And you try to show them your dog and they're like, that's not my grandchild. There can be some kind of tense exchanges with this energy. You can feel like you are trapped in a relationship, that it feels like there's a lack of connection and caring and love. We may be hearing about domestic violence on this day or someone getting arrested. Saturn gives consequences for what's going on in a relationship, or someone making the hard decision to leave a relationship. On Friday, the word of the day is idealize. Neptune in Aries is quincunx the South Node in Virgo, both at 4 degrees. This can manifest as the idealization of perfectionism and realizing it's a blind spot. The energy chases impossible standards and believes peace, worthiness, and safety may come once everything is perfected and optimized or purified. So really notice where you see outside and inside of yourself this idealization of any kind of perfectionism, and can you release it? On Saturday, the word of the day is spoil. The Scorpio Moon now makes a hammer of Thor with Saturn and Venus. Earlier in the week, it was Mars and Pluto. Now it's Saturn and Venus that are really being activated to knock the top off of mountains. This is really intense energy, and you can think about how there's control in relationship with using resources to spoil the other person. The Sagittarius moon begins at 3:57 a.m. The energy lightens. It's fire sign. It's inspired. It's dynamic. It wants to get moving. Can you get up and move to metabolize this energy? On this day, the Sagittarius moon will square the nodes at 3 degrees. North node in Pisces, South node in Virgo. You may feel at a choice point. Do I go and just have some fun, or do I wash the dishes? Have some fun. We're approaching the full moon. That's going to be on Sunday. Be aware that the Scorpio moon can bring up themes of power struggles and buried resentments coming to the surface. You may have the choice about having a knockdown, drag out fight. I think we'll be seeing stories of declining popularity. There's going to be someone in the collective, a Venus and Cancer type figure who gets rejected with that square to Saturn. Notice in your own life what you're seeing. So that's it for this week's episode. Feel free to email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com with any astrology and action stories. Take care, and I'll catch you next week. Thank you for listening to Celestial Insights. To learn more about my work, please visit my website, astrologybyceleste.com, where I offer personal readings, horary consultations, cosmic coaching, group events, and classes to help guide people to higher levels of fulfillment. You can also find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook at Astrology by Celeste. If you enjoyed Celestial Insights, please help others find the show. Follow, rate it 5 stars, or write a nice review. I would so appreciate it. I'm astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks, and I'll be back next week.